So you're a big student of all things business and how to make things grow.
Yes.
I know you are also just so well respected and regarded. Your networks are amazing, Nicole. How have you cultivated and developed those critical networks that are so important in business development in particular?
Well, it's a part of sharing information, solving problems. I am a philanthropist. I'm involved in so many other areas. As a matter of fact, I'm creating an endowment fund right now with one of the universities, as well as in another regard. I'm about helping kids. I remember being invited when I was in the East Bay Women in Business Roundtable to an event where Jackie Spears was there, and they were talking about funding TechBridge. This is before it spun out on its own, and they were a couple schools were going to close down, losing funding. And I raised my hand and I said, well, how much does it cost? And they said, only, $21,000 a school. And I said, well, I only need to know 21 people with $1,000 or 41, that kind of thing. And so it's a matter of, what do we do to make that happen? So I got tapped to be on the board of Chabot Space and Science Center as a result.
Yeah, they're not dummies. Yeah.
No, they're not at all. And that's one of the things. I think when you lead with wanting to help others, wanting to give, want to empower others, that just brings opportunity. And that's, I think, been one of the things for my success. Of course, I design the solutions for my clients and so forth, but we have more fun with our conversations, and then we do a little bit of insurance management.
So it's really about developing a relationship outside
Absolutely.
of the business itself. Well, and I feel like every time I talk to you, you just break it down and make it seem simple. Not simple, but you saying, hey, listen, you $21,000. I just need to get 21 people to write a check for $1,000. How hard is that?
Yes.
And I feel like you just make everybody around you feel like anything's possible. And you truly do. Way. Yeah. And I think that that's such a gift. And have you had moments where you sort of realize that you were under a different Cabbage Patch at some point, you have a different drummer?
Yes, I have had to come to that conclusion. And I sometimes walk at the beat of my own drum, and I think therein lies the one of the reasons why early on, if I got a no, I said, great, no problem. Then I just go another way. Yeah. And if that involved me putting money on the table to make that happen, I do that and have a success. And I did this when I was on the carrier side, starting out my career a couple of times. And my boss came in, one example, I thought I told you blah, blah, blah about, not going to that event. I says, well, no, you just told me you weren't going to fund it. I said, so I went to the event and I paid for it. And then when I was having meetings, he was listening to the results of that and said, Nicole, let's talk. Let me give you a little budget about your own professional development. So again, I think when you take that step out there, that leap of faith, if you will. And I see that in retrospect. I didn't know that then. Let me be very, very clear. But when you take that step, it just seems like the good forces just come along and follows you. And I think that's probably one of the key reasons why I've had a modicum of success. I'm not afraid to take the step.
Wow, that's such a perfect example, because what you're saying is if somebody else, puts a limitation on you, you believe in yourself. Again, you really bet on yourself, your instinct, your gut about how to make this thing go. And you're like, well, fine, I'll go ahead and pay out of my own pocket because I know this is what's going to get me where I want to go. What a great example for all of us. But I also think in some ways for some of the younger women today who I feel like they want to do things differently and see things differently. And I think some people get hung up on the box that they're put in about what you can and can't do. And you've curated and created your own success and your own life in a way it's just such a tremendous example to everyone around you. And now you're giving it back. You're writing that,
Yes.
you're putting that beautiful signature. How old were you when your mother said that to you? When you're like 4 or 5, you're like,
Yeah, well,
beautiful.
I was 9 years old
Oh,
because,
9.
in fourth grade,
That's
you're
right, right,
learning
right,
your
right.
cursive,
Mhm.
9 years old, and for sure, I did not know what that meant. I'll be honest with you, I did not know, but somewhere in the long term, she knew
Yeah.
what that meant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when you think about your investing, and how you make a choice about where you do your venture investing, is there a theme? Or I know you're an investor in how women invest, but you're also an investor in a couple other things. So what is your framework that you use to make your decisions?
There is a theme. First and foremost, I would like to be involved in furthering business specifically as it relates to women, women of color, and Black women in particular. And then take it another way, I'm really committed to health equity. And, I think COVID underscored what I could have told you a long time ago, is that there are health disparities, whether or not you are, you don't have the social means, excuse me, the economic means more accurately, or if you do,
Yeah.
like I've been
Serena
blessed to,
Williams, right?
I was
Great
about to say,
example.
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. And so that whole space needs to be addressed. And so there are now areas of venture that are beginning to grow around health equity. And that's another area
Fantastic.
that I'll be depositing some dollars in.
Putting that beautiful signature on that check. Well, that's fantastic. When you also have shared with us that you've been philanthropic and you've got some
Yes.
plans. When you think about your philanthropy, what is the measurement you use for that success? Is it
Well, you'll probably laugh at me, but anyway, this is what the call this conversation is all about, right? Well, again, when I was little, but this time maybe around the middle school area, I started hearing this statement that a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
sure, of course.
By now they call themselves the UNCF, but when I was little, they called themselves the United Negro College Fund, right?
Yeah.
And so when I heard about that, just the statement itself, I didn't even know the organization that was behind it, just saw the advertisement on it. I agreed with that. I try to realize my best talents for sure. And I think education is an equalizer. So
Yeah.
where I put my money, from a philanthropy perspective, is with education. So I'm, giving back in that area. Put some of my youngins through college, nieces, nephews, and what have you. But now I'd like to do something a little bit more specifically where it will help others.
Fantastic. My hope is that you will also make sure you have some airtime with them so they understand that someday they're going to get to use their beautiful signature on checks for investing and philanthropy with you as the role model. So for the women listening, what makes a woman investor so influential? And how has it helped you to step up into your power in any ways that
Well, it's interesting. I did it, investing, that is, as a motivation to create our own space at a table. I didn't necessarily do it for influence. That comes. Just like money has come for me. I've chased opportunities, um, the kind of work that I wanted to do, et cetera. And the money has always followed, if you will. And so I didn't necessarily do this to chase influence per se, but it has come for sure. And certainly now I have tons of people coming at me, to try to get me to get involved in angel investing. And I'm like, I'm not there yet. I'd rather do this route until I get more proficient. So I say all that to say I didn't seek influence from that perspective, but I appreciate the responsibility of that. And as a result of that, when individuals come to me, I try to refer them on. That's the best thing. I've always done that well in terms of networking. I've always opened the door and connected people with other people. And so that's what I think the value, at least today, of this kind of influence, because I'm by no means an expert.
Well, I think you are, but I'll just keep reminding you of every time I see that expertise inspiring me. So is there anything that when you kind of look back, because you've had so much success. But if you could talk to your 21-year-old self, let's say, is there anything, you wish you would have done earlier in life? What would it be if there was anything?
Oh, man. I think I've come to the point where everything that happened in my life and will in the future um, was supposed to happen
Yeah.
because
It scaffolds.
it's there it is. It scaffolds. It's led to one way or the other. Now, while it was happening, I was like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
I didn't want it to happen for sure. And some things that seemed like it wasn't an opportunity, I thought it was a problem. It actually was a solution because I was pushed in another direction. But at the time going through it, I would not have said that at all. So I don't know if I could. I guess I would tell my 21-year-old self, hold on and go for the ride and know you're having a ride, as opposed to sweating it all while you're going through it. Because I think I was definitely passionate and certainly intense about it because I'm one of those kind of people. That's probably what I tell myself. You don't know what's at the end of that ramp. Just hold on, you'll get there. So I had to learn that for doggone sure.